What's up, you guys? All right, well, here we are. Today is day 24, 24th consecutive green day, and the stock that I made the most on was GNPX, straight off the watch list. So those of you guys that were watching my pre-market stream, you guys hopefully also had a couple nice trades on it. But I will say that I wasn't really dialed in on this one the way I was dialed in yesterday and the day before on some of the gappers. My first trade, I jumped in. We didn't really get a dip, but it started to break the pre-market high. And then it hesitated for a second. I got nervous and I got back out basically flat. It then ripped up 20 cents and I was like, oh man. So it squeezes without me, pops up about 30 cents. It then does a 10, 12 cent pullback and I bought that dip. So now I'm back in it, and this time with 6,000 shares, full size. And I leaned forward kind of like this to just get situated a little bit better, get positioned better right over my keyboard, because now I'm like, okay, I'm back in, this thing's ripping up. I want to make sure I can really do well. So I have my hand on the button here, and as I lean forward, I tapped Control Z. I already had my hand on Control and my finger was on Z, but I didn't press it. And then I tapped it, and just like that, I sold. And I had gotten in on the dip. It popped up about 10 cents. I was up 600 bucks. It then pulled back like 5 cents. And when I hit the bid on my hotkey, I got slippage and was basically out for like a penny of profit. And then it ripped up again. And I was like, oh my God. So on the next pullback, I bought the next dip. Started with small size. It popped up. I added thinking it was going to rip right back up. And then it flushed about 20 cents. And of course, just like that, I was down and red on the day, and I knew it, and I was like, gosh, darn it. So I sort of botched my first 3 trades and then spent the rest of the morning digging myself out of the hole. So I dug myself out of the hole from down probably $1,000 more or less up to probably what would have been close to 25 or almost 2,800 bucks. And then my last 2 trades, or maybe it was even 3, but definitely my last 2 trades were losers, and so fell back down a little bit. But I'm finishing the day up about 1,300 bucks. It's a good day. It's not the best day, probably mostly because of my own mistakes. But keep your head above water, thrive, survive till you thrive. And today was a day where I kind of treading a little water, keeping my head above water, which is good, but not big in the profit area. So that's okay. It's a 24th consecutive green day. I am glad that I went from red to green, so anything above the break-even line is a great day, ultimately. I'm walking away with more money than I had this morning, and to make $1,300 in 1 hour of trading, that's awesome. I mean, let's keep things in perspective. It's been a great 24 days, but typically a $1,300 day is a good day. It's just when it's in the shadow of $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 days that it feels like it's not as much. But really, it's a great day, and I'll be back at it tomorrow. And hopefully we do see better follow through on the gappers. APDN yesterday was weak. GNPX today also a little weak on the gap. I mean, both gave opportunities, but neither were perfect. And I definitely did better yesterday on APDN, even though it was actually a little bit weaker. But I think part of that was because it was flushing so quickly that it also was popping really quickly, and GNPX was just a little more range bound in its movement, and it was a little harder for me to get a good feel for. So hey, that's all right. That's the way it sometimes goes. As always, questions, comments, leave them down below, and I'll see you guys first thing tomorrow morning, live streaming. I'll turn on the feed right around 9 a.m. and then I'll start the watch list around 10 past 9. So for those first 10 minutes, I'll just run it on silent mute so you guys can get logged in, so hopefully you don't miss that, the watch list. All right, that's it for me. I'll see you guys first thing tomorrow morning. Bye, everyone. All right, everyone. So we're going to do the recap here for this morning. 24th consecutive green day. GNPX was straight off the watch list, as was MVIS, and DYAI and CLSK were both stocks that were hitting either the high day Momo scanner or were moving up. Only $1,300 of profit today, and I definitely went red right out of the gates on GNPX. So why don't we look at that one first? it was at the top of the gap scanner, gapping up 58% with a 17 million share float, priced at 392, 44 million shares of volume right now. And on this one, I botched my first 2 trades, which was really kind of disappointing. So my first trade on it, let's see. So we've got that pre-market high right up here at 91. And on my first trade, I got long at 74, 79, and 80 with, let's see. So, sorry, 74 and 79 with 4,000 shares. And then I got faked out and sold it for like 2 cents a profit. And then it rips through 4. Then we got a nice dip, a bounce off 4, and I was back in at 401 with 6,000 shares, and I had my hand on the Control Z button, which I typically do, and I leaned forward, I just leaned forward, and I accidentally hit the button, and I sold break even, and I was like, no, and then it popped from 4 up to 440, and I was like, God dang it. And so then my next trade on it, after botching the first 2, I tried to take a bottom bounce back off of 4, and it flushed down here to 385, and I stopped out for a loss. So I knew I was red on the day, and I then spent the rest of the morning digging myself out of the hole, which, I obviously did, but it's kind of annoying that I had some good ideas and some really good entries on it, and then I botched the first 2 trades. We did end up getting this nice break back up here, and this was where I made back some money, but then I gave back a little bit right here on this break. I tried to do a bounce off the VWAP right here at 4. So I was buying at the VWAP with a 10-cent stop, and it ended up flushing through the VWAP, and I took the full 10-cent stop. So, I probably was up, and that was with 7,500 shares on that last trade. So it was like one of the biggest trades I took of the day, and again, just timing was not solid. So I would have been up 2,200 if it weren't for that trade, and I think I might have had another loss in there somewhere. So that was kind of disappointing. MVIS, this was right off the scanner's watch list as well. I took the long for the break over the pre-market high of 77. It popped up only to 85, and I made $100. DYAI, hitting the scanners. I jumped into it, small size. It was light volume. I didn't really trust it. We got the breakthrough 7, breakthrough 712, and then a bottom bounce down here in the 70s. But I traded each of them with small size. I had 1 loss and 2 small winners. So nothing super exciting there. And then CLSK is the last one that I traded, and this is where I was like, all right, I'm done for the day. I'm frustrated. On this one, I didn't trade the move up. I then tried to buy the first pullback on a bounce, and I got a really bad fill on it, which is sometimes happens, when you're trying to trade stocks as they bounce. This was on this flush right here. I tried to go long at 50, but I used a marketable limit order, and I actually got filled at 60. So I'm in at 60, and then I stopped out at 50. So if I'd gotten filled at 50, well, I might have actually been a break even or made a little money, but instead I just, again, I don't know. Today, I was just a little slow. Botched a couple trades, not as tight today. And I don't know if it's, some days are like that. I don't know if it's anything in particular, but, on the other hand, it's my 24th consecutive green day, my 3rd green day of May, and although it's not a home run by any means, I don't have any massive losses today. The biggest loss, I guess, might be, well, let's see, what was that trade? And what I was going to do, I was going to import my trades from yesterday, so let's do that real quick. There's Trader View, here's Lightspeed. So I'm just going to import my trade so we can look at the first 2 days of the month. Let's see. There we go. Come on, why it says invalid password? It's ridiculous. All right, it's like it knows my password. This is silly. Okay, so all right, so I'm gonna have my Trader View stats over here. I'm gonna import these in 1 second. And yeah, it's the biggest loss today. Let's see. So I had that one, right? So I was in. Okay, so on this one, I had about 7,000 shares or 6,000 shares at 4. No, that was fine. Okay, yeah, so that was the one. So I was long. Yeah, that's not a great one. I was long at 410 and added at 418 and then stopped at 391. So that was, let's look back at this. That was right, was like right at the open. It was probably right in this area here. Yeah, it was right here that I was long and then adding for the break and the rip back higher, and then I stopped out right here. And the thing is, as I was stopping out, I was like, man, this is like a dip entry. You know, I'm stopping out basically where it's a dip entry, but I was like, well, I really can't add. I'm already in, I bought for the breakout. So to add down here, you know, I'm gonna have to go in with too many shares, and then my risk is too high. So, you know, sometimes that happens. Again, it speaks to just trying to size in a way that doesn't, I don't know. I mean, if you size for a breakout, you try to get the breakout, and if you don't get it, jump right back out. And if, in the case of my trades today, I probably didn't stop out of it fast enough at 4. I probably should have bailed right at 4, and I held as it flushed back down to 390. So I gave it a little too much room, and you know, sometimes that'll happen. So, all right, let's see. I'm going to import my trades here. So I think I only have yesterday in my main account, and then the day before was in my retirement. Sometimes I forget to switch. All right, so let's see. So we're going to import this trade, light speed, use tags. Let's say main account. All right, and then I'm going to grab that one. And while that one's importing, I'm going to grab my retirement account from Friday, which was a good start. So I had a really good day on Friday, a good day on Monday, and today, well, not so impressive with only $1,300. Let's keep things in perspective. This is still a pretty decent day. 1,300, 1,300 a day keeps the job away. All right, so I'm going to pop that one in there and upload. But in terms of trying to get a really nice start on the month, I would have maybe, of course, preferred to have a bit of a nicer day here today, but again, it's not the end of the world. All right, so 5/1/2020 to 5/5. Actually, it's 5/4/2020. All right. So this is where I sit here. So here's May. So 2 days in. So 27 trades on Friday, 23 on Monday. So trading pretty aggressively and trading very quickly. Average winners, 4 minutes. Average losers, less than a minute. Cutting those losses fast. The profit loss ratio so far, nice. 285 average losers, 442 average winners. Not bad. $4,000 plus average biggest winner, 1,300 biggest loser. 80% accuracy, very nice. 15,000 in gross profit. So that's a fantastic start to the month, all things considered. Today is probably not going to help on accuracy. But, it's hard to say because I just had a couple losses that were a little bit bigger. So my accuracy might have been okay today, actually. We'll see. We'll see when I import it tomorrow. We'll see how it looks. So anyways, realistically, in terms of setting monthly goals and stuff like that, I don't really have a strong hard set number. and I'm trying right now not to get too fixated on the number, but instead just try to take good trades each day and kind of keep my vision a little bit more like, is today a good day? And yes, okay, good. So now today's done. Tomorrow, I want tomorrow to be a good day. And kind of just take it like that. And then by the end of the month, if I end up having, obviously a couple of really solid days like Friday, it'll end up being a really good month. So that's the approach right now. And well, 3 days in, I'm in good shape. This is definitely a better start than I've had in other months if I go back to the beginning of the year. So January kind of started red. February was a good start. March was a terrible start. So February, April, May, right now, these are 3 good starts to the month. And I'm on this consecutive hot streak that started on April 1st. And I'm going to try to just keep it going as long as I can, not for the sake of the hot streak particularly, but just for the sake of trying to get a really good start to the month of May and to try to build a really strong cushion here. So that way I'll feel like I'm in the driver's seat for the month. And I'm pretty close to in the driver's seat on the month. I would say anything above 20,000 is pretty much in the driver's seat on the month, because a month more than 20 is a solid month. So that's it here for the recap. What we're going to do for Warrior Pro students, we're going to switch over to the Warrior Pro room, and I'm going to do Q&A for you guys until lunchtime. All right, so let's jump over there. We'll do some Q&A, and those of you guys watching on YouTube or Facebook, the recap, feel free to leave questions down below, and I'll try to get back to them later this afternoon or tonight. All right, so 24th consecutive green day, $1,300 of profit, smallest green day that I've had now since, well, actually, so relatively speaking, this is the worst day I've had in like 2 weeks, because last week this was like super solid, and the week before was super solid except for this day where I made only 1,100. So it's my worst day in 2 weeks. Gosh, that's embarrassing. Well, at least I'm green. All right, that's it for me. I'll see you guys first thing tomorrow morning. And Warrior Pro students, let's go do our QA session. Hey, did you know that I go live every single morning between 9 and 9:15 to stream my pre-market watch list? Subscribe to the channel, press the bell for the alert, and you'll get the notification.